Shri Guru Charitre, Chapter 37, Grihasta Dharma. This chapter describes the religious duties incumbent on a Grihasta. Namaskara Priyaha Suryaha, Alankara Priyaha Vishnuho, Abhisheka Priyaha Shivaha. 1 meal a day makes a yogi, 2 meals a day makes a bhogi, and 3 meals a day makes a rogi. The purity of one's mind depends on the purity of food he takes, not only through the mouth but also through the 5 senses, namely eyes, nose, ears, limbs, and the tongue. Sri Narasimha Saraswati was lighting up the minds of people by giving instructions on the disciplines necessary for keeping up the spiritual flame. After soothing the body and mind, he used to start giving spiritual instruction to put them on the Godward path, to help them evolve spiritually so that they would be relieved forever from the afflictions of birth and death. In this chapter, Guru Nath describes the Kapil Deva Puja Vidhi, that is about the daily worship and its Mahima. Siddhamuni continued his narrative to Namdharak. For Deva Puja, the shrine room should be kept clean, Rangoli should be done, and the place should be decorated with flowers. The atmosphere should be filled with the fragrance of incense sticks, sandalwood, or other perfume materials. The place should be specially congenial and soothing to the mind. It should take an instant appeal to the mind and bring it into devout and worshipful mood. The atmosphere should be such that the senses get sublimated, mind gets collected and calmed, and the spirit gets uplifted and elevated. Seated on a clean, comfortable seat, one should take to the puja. The worship has to be done 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and the evening. If full and elaborate worship is not possible for want of time or for any other reasons, one should at least do the Shodopachara Puja, that is, worship constituting the 16 types of services in the morning. Panchopachara Puja, that is worship constituting of 5 types of services in the forenoon. And offering of the camphor light, Nirajana, in the evening. And perform the worship this way. Having been born as a Brahmin, if he does not do the worship daily, he will be subject to the netherworld after death. There are 6 types of puja. First, Udaka Narayana Puja, that is, worshipping God in water. Second, Agni Puja, that is, worshipping God in fire. Third, Aditya Puja, that is, worshipping God in the sun. Fourth, Manasika Puja, that is, worshipping God mentally. 5. Pratima Puja, that is, worshipping God in the icons. 6. Yagna Puja, that is, worshipping God through performance of Yagna. The Manasika Puja is the highest form of worship. Idol worship is a relative lower type or form of worship compared to Manasika Puja, but it has also its place in the spiritual journey. Worship of the cow and a Brahmin, visualizing them as God, is also an accepted form of puja. The worship of Guru, however, pleases all the Trimurtis. In the Kali Yuga, as men are not capable of cultivating and cherishing such exalted form of adoration towards the Guru and of identifying the Guru with God, God has assumed the forms of Saligrama stones and of Linga form stones which are found on the banks and riverbeds of the Narmada and the Gandaki rivers. Worship of the Saligrama or the Linga absolves man from all his sins. With Guru's Upadesha and worshipping the idol as per his instructions, God will respond even through idols and will fulfill all the desires of the worshipper. Regarding the worship of an idol, first one should seat himself before the shrine, should do Sankalpa and then Pranayama. Pranayama helps to quieten the mind and centralizes the consciousness for concentration. Water has to be sprinkled over the materials for worship. The idol has to be then installed in the Simhasana. On the left side of the idol should be placed the conch, and on the right side should be placed the bell. The flowers and the other materials of worship of the previous day are to be removed. The lamp has to be lighted. Then worship has to be first offered to God Ganapati. Then the Guru has to be remembered. The worship to the shrine has to be done. The tutelary deity has to be visualized in the shrines of one's own heart, and the same visualized form has to be then invoked and enshrined in, or to be identified with, the idol placed for worship. This is Prana Pratishta, imparting living reality to or instilling life into the idol. One should visualize that God Himself has come and is standing in front of him. Bhavana with true faith is the very essence of the idol worship. Then, to the visualized form of God, identified with the idol, Padya, Argya, Achmana, Madhuparka, Snana, all these upacharas are to be done. Then, chanting the prescribed mantras, Abhisheka has to be performed with milk, Panchagavya, etc. The idol has to be then dried with a clean cloth and placed back on the shrine. Then Vastra, Gandha and Yagnopavita are to be offered, and thereafter puja has to be done with flowers, with materials and articles of fragrance, and with akshatas, etc. While white flowers are ideal for worship, colored flowers are not so sacred for worship. Lotuses, jasmines and other such flowers are good. Ganapati is not to be worshipped with tulsi, and Devi is not to be worshipped with garika. Maradu, that is bilva, is dear for Shiva and tulsi for Vishnu. After the offerings of the flowers, dupa has to be offered. During the puja, appropriate mantras and prayers are to be recited with full devotion. After the puja, Naivedya will have to be offered to the Lord. Visualizing that God has accepted the food offered, the devotee's hands are to be cleaned with water. Then tambula, that is, betel leaves, have to be offered. The puja will have to be conducted with arti, offering mantra pushpa at the idol's feet, followed by the pradakshina and shashtanga namaskara. The namaskara vidhi is also explained in detail: how to offer namaskars to an idol, to the guru, to the elders, to parents, etc. The puja tirtha has to be sprinkled on one's forehead, to be smeared on the eyes, and should be sipped by the mouth. The puja tirtha is most purifying. It purifies the body, the mind, and the spirit. After the Deva puja and before taking food, we have to offer oblations, the Pancha Yagnas, that is, Deva Yagna, Rishi Yagna, Pitru Yagna, Bhuta Yagna, and Atiti Yagna. These yagnas absolve man of the Panchasuna sins, which everyone invariably commits while doing the daily chores. The Pancha Yagnas are done through Vyasa Devatri. From the food cooked, a little portion will have to be first offered to gods, Pitrus or ancestors, Bhutas, Rishis and Atithis, and only then will one take this food, considering it as Yagna Shesha, that is, the remnant portions of Yagna. If a guest happens to arrive, he should be welcomed and fed. Atithi is to be deemed as God himself in human form. After the guest is fed, only the Grihasta has to take his food. When an Atithi or a Brahmachari comes for Bhiksha, he should be offered Bhiksha instantly, even if Vaishwadeva and Naivedya have not been performed as yet. If the Atithi is pleased, all gods, all Pitru Devatas will be pleased. One morsel of food given to them brings mountain-sized merit, and one tumbler of water offered to them brings an ocean-sized merit. One who does not offer food to Atithi and eats by himself will be born as a dog or donkey in his next life. Strict silence is enjoined when taking food. Actually, before taking food, there are other oblations to be done and observed. A circle with 4 cones or mandala should be drawn with flour, and the plate of food should be kept on that mandala. A little food has to be kept aside on the right side on the floor as bali in the name of Chitragupta, and thereafter only should one eat the food. One should visualize that God seated inside him is eating the food, and that the food is also the Brahmin himself. Pranahuti and Upasana mantras are to be recited at the beginning and after the completion of taking the food. At night, when taking food, lamp should be lighted and one should not eat the food in the dark. Moderation in food is also enjoined. Moderation is very much necessary in food. How much mouthfuls one should take as per the day of the fortnight, that is, Chandrayan Vrata, is described. The types of utensils and plates to be used for making food, the metals out of which they are to be made, their shapes are also described in the same detail. There are also rules prescribed about drinking water, washing hands, washing eyes, face, etc. The auspicious sounds which one should hear, the sounds which are inauspicious, whose faces are auspicious to see and whose faces are not, are also described. Sri Narasimha Saraswati teaches also about the types of food to be taken and those which are prohibited for a Brahmin. Food without a daily oblation, food made with too much salt, garlic, etc. are prohibited. On particular days, some types of food and certain types of vegetables and fruits are to be avoided, like Padwal on Padyami day, Belpal on Friday, Shanipal on Tuesday, etc. A Brahmin should never take Nishiddha food or food touched by a cat, rat, crow, dog, etc. He should not eat food that is stale, that is, leftover food from the previous day. These impair the sattvic traits and promote rajasic and tamasic tendencies in him. A Brahmin should nurture and guard his sattvic gunas, which are necessary and essential for his functioning as the community and the society as a whole. In the evening, the Brahmin should perform Sayam Sandhya, that is, chanting Gayatri Mantra with 3 oblations of water and uttering Gotra, Pravara, and with Aupasan. Thereafter only should he take his night meals. Before retiring to bed, one should read some sacred books and then, after offering this whole day's work as worship done to the Lord, he should go to sleep. Sayan Vidana, that is sleeping, is also described. That is regulations relating to the cot used for sleeping by a Brahmin, etc. The cot should be clean. It should not have been made of jumble wood or tusks of a dead elephant. Days for weaving cots are also specified. They are either Sunday, Tuesday, or Thursday. When weaving, certain deities are to be remembered. One should sleep with heads towards east or south. The places prohibited for sleep for a Brahmin are old temples, cremation grounds, at the foot of a tree, near ant hill, near tanks, on food grains, and in dilapidated house. A Brahmin should not go to bed with wet clothes. He should not go to sleep without a garment. He is not to sleep under the bare sky. Brahmin should not indulge with his wife when she is in her monthly period or when she is wearing blue-colored sari. There are injunctions on the wife as to how to conduct herself during her monthly periods and the things and disciplines she should observe. All these are necessary for bodily health as well as for moral and spiritual health, not only for the couple but also for the well-being and welfare of the progeny. All these have been codified by Parasara Rishi in Parasara Smriti. Jai Gurudeva.